From all sides, Ronald was crushed by terrifying darkness and the walls of the closet he accidentally locked himself in. The guy's heart started racing, and his breath became uneven. He tried to shoulder barge the door to break out, but it was useless. Ronald screamed, yet no one answered. Panicked, he started clawing at the wall, wooden splinters painfully digging under his nails. Still, he didn't stop. It might sound hard to believe, but even a closet can be deadly dangerous. After watching this video, your claustrophobia attacks will be triggered by the most unexpected places. So, keep watching if you're not easily scared. As always, viewer discretion is advised. Actually, scientists have discovered that claustrophobia can be inherited. This gives us another reason why it's so worth it to dig deeper into our family history and origins. And you can do that with the partner of this video, MyHeritage. Here, you can enhance space a few floors below. On March 22, 2024, the Holland America New Amsterdam cruise ship was sailing from Florida to Jamaica and briefly docked at Half Moon Cay in the Bahamas. In the morning, engineer Joseph Terrata was tasked with replacing filters in the engine room and windshield cleaner. Wawan Gusnawan was sent to assist him, although it wasn't his duty. Out of the blue, at 9 a.m., a steam compensator suddenly exploded in the room they were in. An alarm signal sounded aboard. The accident wasn't severe enough to sink the ship, but it endangered the workers in the engine room, so they all immediately began to evacuate from there. The staff quickly closed the watertight doors and turned off the ventilation. Yet at that moment, Joseph and Wawan were still inside. The two workers found themselves trapped because manually opening the hydraulic doors was no longer possible. Their death most likely was slow.
Bro, that would suck, dog. I couldn't even imagine, bro.
The oxygen level in the enclosed space decreased. The room filled with hot steam, its temperature reaching a whopping 180 degrees Celsius. They were practically baked alive. When the staff opened the doors, they saw the bodies lying right beneath them. This meant that in their last moments of life, they desperately tried to escape or call for help, but no one.
Bro, that is like being in a sauna and not being able to turn down the heat. I ain't even trying to make fun of these people, but that's pretty much what that's like. A steam, like they in a steam like room or whatever it was.
Heard their cries. Death is lurking where you least expect it. And
Bro,
even
that's
if you're
like
not
being
in a
trapped in a
dangerous
sauna.
job, like just chilling at a water park, it doesn't mean you have nothing to fear. On July 12th, 2015, Lahuro Castrejon was sliding down the water slide at Hawaiian Falls Water Park when suddenly he got stuck. He tried to wiggle to move forward, but nothing worked.
Bro had to have been too big. It ain't no excuse. He had to have been too big to make it down the slide.
The situation got worse when he heard the next visitor coming down the slide
Oh
behind
my
him.
God.
That's deadly dangerous. According to safety rules, which aren't just made up, you're supposed to slide only when the person ahead of you has gone through the whole tunnel, landed in the pool, and swam away. Otherwise, you could, like, break someone's spine or neck. Plus, if someone passes out from hitting the slide at high speed, they could drown in the pool. The guy the operator let go right after Lahuro, before his time, was pretty hefty. He crashed into Castrejon at high speed. Lahuro blacked out from the impact, opening his eyes at the bottom of the pool. Luckily, he quickly resurfaced and didn't drown. The guy who crashed into him kept repeating, "I almost killed you," in a panic. At the hospital, it was determined that the park visitor suffered injuries to his shoulder, head.
God was on his side this day, bro. He woke up just in the nick of time while he was underneath the water, bro. God was on his side this day.
And back. Castrejon sued the park and received a compensation of $100,000. $12,000.
How are you gonna sue the park just because you can fit through the slide? How is that they fault? But it is their fault that dude let the other guy go whenever it wasn't his turn. So I do understand that the other guy did go whenever it wasn't his turn.
Which went to hospital bills. I mean, at least he survived. In August 2020, at the El Dorado Aquatic and Fitness Center in Arizona, a very strange incident involving water slides occurred. One night when the park was closed, police officer Watts was patrolling nearby and heard muffled cries for help. Searching for the source of the cries, he stumbled upon a water slide where a man was stuck. But he wasn't in the slide tunnel. The man somehow ended up in the support pipe of the slide. It was 31-year-old Ryan Kelly, and nobody still knows why he climbed over the fence of the closed park and how he ended up in the pipe. Rescue service workers dismantled the structure and shouted into the opening to communicate with the man. But an hour into the rescue operation, he stopped
He was
responding.
gone.
Rescuers had to dismantle the slide to reach his already lifeless body. Sometimes, finding yourself trapped in an enclosed space can happen even in the middle of the city. In July 2017, a maintenance worker from Texas was fixing a lock inside a Bank of America ATM when the doors accidentally shut, trapping him inside.
Oh my
The worker
gosh.
freaked out, realizing he left his phone in the car. He started yelling for help, but nobody could hear him. Luckily, he had a pen and paper with him and began writing notes, asking for assistance. To get the attention of ATM users, he pushed these notes through the check slot. Here's one of them. "Please help. I'm stuck here and I don't have my phone. Please, call my boss." People withdrawing cash from the ATM and receiving these messages thought it was some kind of a joke and talked.
Bro, oh my gosh. That would piss me off. They thinking this is a joke and this dude really stuck. Bro, that would have me so mad. This is life or death right now. And for those of y'all that don't know, the only time whenever they do open up the ATM machine is if that junk just have a malfunction or if they just put more money inside of it. That's really the only times whenever they open that junk.
Lost them. Eventually, one bank customer called the cops. Eventually, law enforcement broke the lock, and the worker, who had been stuck in the tiny, stuffy room for 3 hours, was finally free. He was lucky he didn't have to wait too long for help, because people aren't
Facts.
often rescued in time. In 2021, in the Spanish city of Santa Coloma de Gramenet, a little boy was playing near a giant papier-mâché stegosaurus and noticed a foul smell emanating from the sculpture. The child told his dad, and when he got closer to the statue, he saw through the holes in its walls that something was inside. So he called the cops to check it out, and when the officers peered into the hollow of the dinosaur sculpture, they saw a dead man. He had fallen headfirst into one of the dinosaur's legs. How did he end up there, though? The sculpture had been in the park for so long that it was slowly deteriorating. So, through the burnt-out walls, a metal frame was visible. It's assumed the man wanted to take a photo of what was inside, but then he accidentally dropped his phone into the hole in the damaged statue. Then, he decided to retrieve it, and most likely climbed into the hole at the belly of the dinosaur but fell further into its leg and got stuck. Builders had to cut open the Stegosaurus leg to retrieve the body. There's no exact cause of death. However, judging from the awful smell of the corpse, the man spent at least a few days in the confined space. And since he was
I know y'all heard that I was on Instagram.
upside down, he likely lost consciousness
I ain't gonna cap. I got a problem with scrolling, dog. I be scrolling.
quickly, which is why he couldn't cry out for help. Sometimes, victims of such incidents get trapped so quickly that they don't even have time to yell for help. On January 27th, 2023, Kevin Holding was near the Cambridge Circus in central London. Kevin was a technician and was supposed to fix one of the pop-up public urinals. It's a toilet with a mechanism that lowers it underground during the day and raises it up at night.
Bro, that is... I don't know if that's cool or weird.
As soon as Kevin crawled under the toilet to work on the malfunction, it suddenly started descending into the ground, crushing him. The weight of the empty urinal cabin can be around 110 kilograms, and this urinal mechanism was definitely heavier.
Bro, if it sits out like that, that is weird. Like, you just go up to it in public and piss up in it? That's weird,
The
bro.
urinal cabin can be around 110 kilograms, and this urinal mechanism was definitely heavier. Dozens of firefighters spent over 2.5 hours trying to free Kevin from the trap, but they couldn't save him in the end. Rescuers retrieved his lifeless body. Sometimes you can get trapped right in the building where you live. On August 22nd, 2019, Sam Weisbrand stepped out of his apartment in the Manhattan Promenade high-rise and got into the elevator. When the doors opened on the first floor, he started to exit. However, at that moment, the elevator suddenly malfunctioned and began plummeting down. I barely managed to watch the surveillance video to the end, and I definitely can't include it in this video. In the footage, Weisbrand instinctively reached out his right hand to grab onto the elevator door frame and tried to put his right foot on the floor. Yet the falling elevator crushed him. In front of terrified neighbors, Sam attempted to climb out of the shaft gap, desperately clawing at the floor with his nails while the elevator was still moving downward. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. The elevator literally crushed him in half. Before the tragic accident, residents often complained about
That look like it hurt, dog. Hold up.
clawing at the floor with his nails while the elevator was still moving downward. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. The elevator literally crushed him in half. Before the tragic accident, residents often complained about the elevator frequently malfunctioning. And all this in a building where the monthly rent for one-bedroom apartment is over $3,695. But sometimes the deadly confined space can be right in your own apartment. When researching,
They gotta give his family some type of bread, bro. He paying I'm gonna say $4,000. He paying $4,000 a month for rent, and he gets crushed by the malfunctioning elevator. Nah, bro. Y'all either pay for this man funeral or give his family some type of
for
money,
this video,
dog.
I was surprised by how many lives your regular fridge might take. For example, statistics from 18 months from January 1954 to June 1956 show that 54 children ended up trapped in household refrigerators, and not all of them were saved. Luckily, with the modernization of refrigerators, mechanical latches that could accidentally close were replaced with a magnetic system, so the unfortunate accidents decreased. However, they didn't disappear completely. In 2023, 34-year-old Brandon Lee Bushman was hiding from the police as they had a warrant for his arrest. Witnesses say they saw him hide in an unoccupied apartment when he spotted some officers nearby. Sometime later, a call came into the precinct about a body in the basement of the same building. Brandon likely decided to lay low in the freezer that was there. The thing is, the apartment was empty and disconnected from electricity, so the refrigerator wasn't working. Brandon probably thought that hiding there would be safe. Let's just say he was wrong. This refrigerator happened to have an old-fashioned mechanical lock that couldn't be opened from the inside. The guy likely tried to break down the door, but in such a narrow space and twisted position, it was definitely very difficult. Later, he started breathing faster, greedily swallowing air until it ran out in the freezer. Brandon suffocated. However, not all similar stories have a clear and understandable explanation. On February 15, 2004, the cops had to bust into the house of 51-year-old Ronald McClagish from Murroe in Cambridgeshire. His buddies reported him missing for about 2 weeks. A neighbor said he heard sounds like someone digging dirt. After the police conducted a search, they found Ronald locked in a closet. Unfortunately, he was already dead. Plus, the closet was filled with water, and the door walls were scratched from his nails.
How did the closet get filled with water? How did that even happen?
Ronald was desperately trying to break free, and that's what the neighbor heard. The police suspect the man was tidying up in the closet when it fell. The door couldn't be opened because it was jammed against the floor. There was a copper water pipe running through it, so he decided to break it off to knock the door down with a heavy object.
Oh my god.
Yet water started flooding out of it. Because his body was submerged in water, he died of lung swelling in less than a week. Ronald's family believes someone locked him in the closet on purpose, calling it intentional murder. But the police never found any evidence to support this theory. And that's not even the most mysterious story of death in a confined space. Residents of Port Clinton, Ohio, still think the case of 14-year-old Harley Dilley can't be considered closed. On December 20th, 2019, a boy went to school and never came back. People had spotted him acting risky before. Plus, Harley had gone missing before when he was mad at his parents. He had Asperger's syndrome, along with a few other psychological syndromes and disorders. So his folks immediately called the cops. The search went on for a whopping 23 days. They used drones, helicopters, dive teams, and specially trained dogs. They even went through loads of local surveillance footage. And then, in one of the vacant houses, the cops found the boy's jacket, but no sign of the kid himself. Sometime later, on January 13th, they decided to search the place again.
Y'all know what? I'm not even about to pretend like I know what Asperger's syndrome is, so I'm finna look that up.
This time more thoroughly. One of the officers noticed a small hole in the wall leading to the chimney. He reached inside and
A developmental disorder affecting ability to effectively socialize and communicate. Asperger's syndrome is a condition on the autism spectrum with generally higher functioning. People with this condition may be socially awkward and have an all-absorbing interest in specific topics.
Felt a human head with horror. Indeed,
So it's
it was
spelled like
Harley.
autism.
By the time they got him out of the chimney, he had been dead for a while. The autopsy showed that Harley died a few hours after getting stuck in the chimney. His lungs were squeezed by the narrow walls, and he suffocated. Why the boy crawled into the chimney is still a mystery. Some think he was held captive, and Harley was trying to escape. Others believe his own parents wanted to kill him. And some think it was just another dangerous kid adventure. But the police still don't have a definite answer. As a kid, I was terrified of elevators, which often meant taking the stairs. Drop a comment about which confined spaces make you uncomfortable. Also, when you finish watching this video, I reckon you'll have the guts to subscribe to my channel. There are plenty more creepy stories here that might just save you.
Alright, y'all. I'm see y'all up in the next one. Thank y'all for watching, liking, subscribing, commenting. Peace.